My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you're here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. This past Sunday, I ran the marathon, and there were thousands of people running the same race. And it's funny how before the race starts, you come to the starting line and there's all these people waiting, and they put you in these corrals with kind of like a cattle with all the rest of the runners that are starting the race with you. And I don't know if this happens to everyone, but at least in my case, I very quickly start kind of looking at people and measuring up with them, depending on how they look, how athletic they look, depending on the running shoes they have, or the socks they're wearing, or if they have compression socks, or if they're wearing this special shirt, technical shirt, muscles. I mean, it's kind of like measuring up with people and see, is this guy faster or slower than I am? Am I going to beat him, or he's going to beat me? And kind of like immediately it's like just discarding. Okay, this guy looks kind of chubby, so he's probably not going to beat me. This other guy looks kind of older, and there's like this putting people in boxes. I'm sure I'm not the only one, because another guy that was running with me, one of my friends, told me later on that he was doing the same thing, and he saw this guy in his corral right next to him, and he was quite older. He had a few extra pounds. My friend, it's not like he's super athletic, but still, he kind of looked at this guy and said, well, a lot of people are going to beat me, but not this guy. So I'm going to beat this guy. And then he said that when he was coming to the end of the race, he didn't run the marathon. He just ran the 5K, which was at the same time. He was coming to the last kilometer, and this guy was there right in front of him. So he's like, man, I'm going to catch up to the guy and I'm going to beat him. And he got up to them. But the other guy saw him coming and he started sprinting. And by the end of the race, the guy just destroyed him and just like took the final sprint. My friend almost died. And the guy that he had judged to be slower eventually ended up beating him. And this happens to all of us. Unfortunately, we are kind of like it's in our genes somehow. We judge people by their appearances, we judge people by their religion, by where they come from, by the school they went to, by their political views, by whatever. We tend to judge people. The same thing happened with the Pharisees and Jesus. Actually, we see that all the time. Today's gospel shows us one of those cases when Jesus walks into a synagogue. And the guys there, the Pharisees, knew it was a Sabbath. The Sabbath day for the Jews is a day where they can't do anything. They can't walk a certain amount of steps. They can't do physical work. They can't, there's a lot of things they can't do because it's a day dedicated to the Lord. And the Pharisees knew the heart of Jesus. They knew where he came from. He knew that he was a good man. They thought hypocritically that it was because he, I don't know, he was some kind of like evil person, or I don't know what they thought. But the fact is, they saw that in the same synagogue there was this man with a withered hand. And the Pharisees, as we know, were looking for reasons to bring Jesus before the justice, like something that will condemn him, something that will betray and will go against religion. And so they kind of looked at this man with a withered hand. They saw Jesus walking in and they said, Jesus is most probably going to heal this man. And that is something that is not allowed. In our law, it's not allowed to heal a person. This is their interpretation of the law, obviously, which was mistaken. It's not allowed to heal a person that has a withered hand on a Sabbath. And so Jesus walks in and immediately he senses the tension. He can read in people's hearts and he knows exactly what the Pharisees are thinking. They know he He knows they are judging him. They are waiting for him to make the mistake. And so he calls him out. And he calls the withered man with the withered hand and says, "Come up here before us." And he will ask the Pharisees, "Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath rather than to do evil? To save life rather than to destroy it?" He puts him on the spot. What we call being Pharisaic. And the Pharisees, obviously knowing that they've been caught, that Jesus can read their thoughts and hearts, they remain silent. And Jesus, the gospel tells us pretty strong words, looked at them with anger and grieved at their hardness of heart. He says to the man, "Stretch out your hand." The man stretches it out, and the hand is restored. What a miracle. What generosity, God. What mercy. What love you have for everyone. And for this specific man, that you restored his hand in spite of what people would think. And the Pharisees, poor man, being witnesses to this amazing miracle, happened right in front of their eyes. Their heads are so distorted that they just judge Jesus. And they go out, says the gospel, and immediately take counsel with the Herodians against him to put Jesus to death. So that's why they get out of an amazing miracle, an act of mercy, of love, of charity. They want to put Jesus to death. How many times we kind of fall into this same mistake? How many times we are Pharisaic? How many times we judge people by their appearances? And we judge them, and we judge their thoughts and their deeds, no matter what they do, because of our prejudices. And we don't give them the benefit of the doubt. We don't give them the benefit of understanding. We don't try to understand where they're coming from and to really see the best in them. What difference, Lord, with your attitude, with your reaction? How many times, Lord, we see you being merciful, being generous, receiving every person, no matter what their circumstances were, no matter if he was a Samaritan, no matter if he was a public sinner. It doesn't matter. Jesus always receives people with love. He is always merciful. He never judges. We see that constantly in the gospel, that scene when some of the Pharisees again bring this woman they found in the act of sin, in the act of adultery. And they bring her to Jesus thinking, this time we've got him. How do we judge him? Moses said that we should stone this woman. And Jesus, whoever is free of sin, may he throw the first stone. The men leave, and Jesus says to the woman, I don't judge you. Go. Sin no more. Be a good man, woman. Jesus, that we might see with your eyes. Jesus, that we might look at people, not with prejudice, not with comparisons, not judging, but with mercy, with love, with generosity. Like you look at me, Lord. In spite of my weaknesses, of my defects, of my many failings, you always look at me with eyes of love. Lord, that I may see people, that I may look at my brothers and sisters, at everyone, with your eyes, with those eyes full of love. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.